all main quests. So I'm going to start by loading up a save, and there's a couple reasons that this run starts from a pre-made save. Specifically, you can loot items from, dead bodies or objects in the game, and each of those lootable objects has sort of an item pool of things that can be there. And in the first area of the game, those item pools are determined when you start the game. So by using a pre-made save, I know that I'll be able to get certain items that I need from a couple of objects early on in the run. So if we're ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, Morgan, wake up.
All right. So it's all main quests, and the first thing it wants me to do is pick up my suit that's hanging on the door, but I'm not going to do that, because that is only a step in the first quest of the game, and luckily we only have to complete the quests. We don't have to do every single step in them. Yes, I need this chair to cooperate with me. Actually stay up there. This chair is the cause of about 99% of all resets in every category of this game. Because if you miss the throw, usually just reset. Okay, good enough. So first thing I'm going to do is get out here. And we've got some new speed tech in the form of super slides. But that body right there is what I'm talking about when I'm saying I need certain items to appear, because I need that wrench.
My code name is January.
And you might be wondering what I just did there with the menu is that I took the wrench and I threw it back on the ground after picking it up. Because right now, in order to complete the first quest of the game, which is first day on the job, I have to go through this kind of intro tutorial thing. And for whatever reason, if you take a weapon into this tutorial, which you're not supposed to be able to do, when you leave the tutorial, it's taken out of your inventory again. And I'm going to need the wrench again, actually pretty soon after the intro. So by throwing it on the ground, it's going to stay there, and I can pick it up again after I get done with this.
But it's a you family tradition. Breaking convention is in our blood.
So right now I just gotta wait for this guy to talk.
Whatever comes natural.
And I'm just gonna stand up here on top of the light, because that's a normal thing to do.
Dr. Bellamy's gonna walk you through the process. You're in good hands. We'll be in orbit next week. I promise.
Mr. Yu, they're ready for your sister in room A.
Right. Listen, just be yourself.
Also with the wide FOV, you can kind of see through the door here. Doesn't really matter, but it's a thing you can do.
Good morning, Morgan.
This is sort of a fairly boring part of the run because I just have to wait a whole bunch, but I can make this guy have to look up and down at me as I'm jumping, so that's kind of fun.
Trust me, you're going to do fantastic.
Or a quick donation as well.
Great.
Sure, if you have some.
For this first test, I'd like
We just got the $10 from Lord Fluffy, who was just running in the Titanfall race previously, and they say the Titanfall run was a lot of fun. Shoutouts to this for being unreal with a third straight marathon PB from Titanfall. Good luck on the Prey run.
Wonderful. You're absolutely fine.
Alright, so for these, they're just kind of running some tests. And, the first one was get the 3 boxes out of that circle in the middle. And the second one, they want me to try and hide in this room. Even though there's not really anywhere to hide.
Listen carefully. I'd like you to do your best to hide in this room. Take your time, relax, think it over.
So if you've gotten farther through this game, you would know that
Hit the red button.
what these guys are looking for is they think they've put kind of alien powers into my character that they're expecting me to use.
She's hiding behind the chair.
But because I don't actually have any of them yet, that's kind of why they have these weird lines of dialogue.
No? No, that's fine.
It does make me wonder a little bit. This game did get a New Game Plus mode, which I haven't actually tried, but I think it lets you keep powers that you got from the earlier playthrough, and I don't know if their reactions actually change if you use powers here. So for this test, they want me to press this button and then that button as quickly as possible. And for a long time, the fastest I managed to get it was getting that timer from 10 down to 8. But if I do it just right, I can have it at 9.
Natural, intuitive way possible, without thinking. Just go for it. Press the
You
red
know, the
button
big
when
time
you're ready.
saves. I whiffed the
I'm
button.
sorry,
It went
could
to
you
8.
please explain to me what's happening? Simmons?
I installed exactly what Tina brought down.
You can almost stand on top of this camera.
I apologize, Morgan. We're having some trouble with...
You know, you have to find ways to entertain yourself during this part of this category.
One last room. Let's step into D.
Alright, so we're almost done with this kind of tutorial section. There's only one thing left we have to do, and that's answer some questions on the
Can
screen.
someone get me a cup of coffee? I would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, Morgan. Have a seat at the table for me, please.
Luckily for the speedrun, none of your answers to these questions actually matter for
I'm going to show you a
the
series
amount of time it
questions.
takes. They're all the same.
Pick the answer that makes the most sense to you. Press start on the screen when you're ready.
Familiar.
Good. Looks like you've got the hang of it. Keep going.
Angry.
Ooh, that's heavy stuff.
Which tracks?
Good. Next.
Push the fat man.
Almost done.
And jump on the tracks.
Wow. I'm impressed. Well done. Well done. We're nearly through it. For this next part, I'm going
I think
to
my
display
uniform's
an
over
image.
there.
I want you to take a good look at it. In a moment, I'm going to ask you what... is my coffee? It's empty. I thought...
Oh my god! Security! Security!
Okay, so now we are done with the intro and can actually get into the speedrun.
Alex,
Simmons, what's going on?
we have a problem.
What about Morgan?
She's alive, sedated.
Clean it up. I'm on my way.
Good morning, Morgan. Today is Monday, March 15th, 2032.
I feel like I've heard that voice line before. All main quests except the first one? Well, I mean, that's how you practice this category. Okay, so now I'm just going to go and do this clip again, which can sometimes be a little bit messy just because the chair, after you've clipped out with it once, sometimes slightly changes its position and won't let you clip out as nicely again. Here I'm going to pick up the wrench and assign it to a hotkey so that I can actually equip it. And I'm going to go ahead and do this little trick. Yep, that skips getting locked in the airlock there. And I'm going to grab a medkit. You notice I'm sliding on the ground a lot, and that's the one of the main forms of speed tech in this game that was found somewhat recently. It's known as super slides. And those happen. I actually managed to get out of combat, so normally I could skip this little cutscene if I use the neuromod quick enough because the mimics are still attacking me.
Display case. Normally it's a fake, but I swapped in a real one for you. The neuromods are critical. You won't survive without using them to...
Alright. Okay, I was talking about super slides. So if you're on an object that's got like a hard edge that you can fall off of, if you're sprinting and you strafe off of that edge and hit crouch right as you're falling off, for whatever reason you get a huge boost in speed. So I'm going to be using that pretty much wherever I can, although they haven't been thoroughly routed into this category yet. I'm also going to be looting a lot of things because this category has a lot of sections where I can take a lot of damage very quickly, so I want to make sure I have plenty of medkits just in case. Also looking for these recycle grenades, because they're going to be extremely useful for a bunch of skips and for some combat situations, because they're one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Alright, first things first, I'm going to run to my office here. And grab some more neuromods and key.
Welcome back. This has been your home for the last 3 years.
I'm going to loot a few things here.
On your workstation.
So in that big crate there's a whole bunch of stuff there that I could take that I didn't take. One of those things was a shotgun. And the reason I don't take that is because it is a pre-order bonus, so I'm not actually allowed to use it in runs. And here's the first major glitch in the game, which is door dislocation, and here's the door right here. Now, by sticking glue to it and throwing a recycler at it, it actually forces the hitbox of the door to move. So instead of being in the way, now it's out here and I can get through the doorway without having to actually open the door. And it's kind of random how that trick works, because the door doesn't always end up in the same place. So it's just kind of lucky for my explanation right now that it was somewhere really convenient. Usually it's like inside of a wall or inside the floor. Here's where I'm actually going to get the shotgun and a bunch more grenades. And another weapon upgrade kit. And I'm going to go for a super slide right here. And it didn't really work. I'll try another one here. And it didn't really work either. Thankfully, the Phantom gave me a damage boost. Another one over here. Hit that button to open the door. And I'm going to use the glue gun to climb my way out of here. Or I'll get absolutely destroyed by mimics. Okay. I might die.
Sorry, Morgan. Alex cut us off from the Looking Glass servers. Time to improvise.
I am stuck inside of a wall. Okay, that's insane.
Welcome back.
Fortunately,
This has been your home
because I broke out of this room,
the video should be on your workstation.
my last save is here, because it assumes that I'm up here watching a cutscene. But I have to do this whole first area again now. Those phantoms absolutely destroyed me.
Hello, Morgan. Tough day, right? I'm happening myself at
So, hopefully this time it goes a little bit better.
in their neural pattern.
Good, he's right on me again. There was a super slide. And that one was okay. One of the big benefits to super slides is that they don't cost you any stamina, which gives me the ability to sprint a lot longer after doing one.
Sorry, but I can't
And this part's a lot easier when I'm not getting shot at.
had a chance to explain everything just... Damn it. I have to
Stuck
just...
crouched.
Please.
And I am stuck crouched. Oh, now I stood up.
Sorry, Morgan. Alex cut us off from the Looking Glass servers. Time to improvise. I suggest you search Dr. Calvino's workshop in the hardware labs. He invented the Looking Glass technology. You might find a way to restore the server connections there. I'm looking for another way to help you in the...
Okay, so grabbing those last few neuromods allows me to get myself to unlock Mobility 2, which gives me the highest running speed in the game. As well as allows me to jump the highest that I possibly can. That was a mess. Anyway, normally something I would have talked about is how I would have gotten to that door before all of the dialogue played out, and then I'd have to sit there and wait for the quest line to progress and actually give me the Through a Glass Darkly quest before I go in here, because if I don't wait for that, then the game would actually soft lock. If I complete that quest before I actually receive it, then I'm not able to actually complete it. This run is on the easiest difficulty, so that things like what happened don't happen. But even on the easiest difficulty, you take a lot of damage from everything still. I'll grab a couple more recycle grenades there, and check that crate, gave me an EMP, which is fine. Grab an extra med kit. And we're gonna go over here, and...
Calvino probably has a key card. You can
move that door, so that we can get in here.
With the security roster.
And this is wild, I've never seen the enemies this aggressive. Oh, by just hitting those couple of buttons there, it's going to allow me to progress, because that unlocks the cutscene that I didn't finish watching over in the first area. Okay, so the story so far, we got through the tutorial, we got into our actual office, and then, you know, we were supposed to be watching this video that we made in the past to remind ourselves now what's going on because we don't have our memories anymore, and that video got interrupted, so we had to go into hardware labs and hit those couple of buttons to fix the video servers so that we can actually come back and watch the rest of the video. And see if any of those mimics actually follow me in here. They did not. So here's another fairly large glitch in this run, which is material duplication.
The research, the Typhon, nothing can survive.
So for whatever reason, when you use a recycler, if you split the stack of material that you put into it and then recycle again, it gives you back more material than you put in.
But you've seen what those creatures can do.
I should note that this only works on the unpatched version of the game.
They're a part of you now.
They definitely fixed
One
this.
cell gets back to Earth, we're lost. I'm sorry. I wish there was another way. January can walk you through activating the self-destruct mechanism. Alex,
A little bit more than that.
He's allergic to failure. Too proud to go back to Mom and Dad with his tail between his legs.
That's plenty.
So
with all of that duplicated material, I'm going to make myself all of the shotgun ammo that I'm going to need for the rest of the game. I'm also going to take these 2 weapon upgrade kits that I found, and I'm going to upgrade both the damage and the ammo capacity of the shotgun. After that cutscene, a robot spawned called January, who is going to tell us a bunch of stuff. I have to talk to it exactly 1 time,
I'm your plan B.
otherwise it'll just sit there.
Free you from the simulation. Second task was to make sure you saw your video. Those are done. Interesting. New directives are now available to me. The self-destruct protocol for Talos 1 is activated by 2 arming keys. Your brother has the first. You had the second.
Alright, so right now I'm actually completing 2 different quests at the same time. One of them is Speak with January, and the other one is General Access Key. So right now I have to just sit and wait for January to talk. I can complete General Access Key just by killing January and looting it, but then I would end up failing Speak with January. So for this category at least, I have to sit here and wait for January to speak, because ideally we want to complete all of the quests and not fail any of them. That being said, I'm about to fail one of them.
Good luck, Morgan.
There's a quest line called Deep Storage that I'm working on right now, which wants me to take this main elevator, but the main elevator is not working, and that quest automatically fails right then and there because it is scripted to fail. And even if I use speedrun tricks to skip the fail state of that quest, it's not completable. And like, even if I skipped over the point where that quest fails and then I come back later when the elevator is working, and then actually do what the quest line tells me it wants, the quest will not complete. So there is no success state for that quest, there's only a fail state. So for that case, we consider that quest failing as completed, since that's the only way to complete it. Now I'm going to use the recycler to get some debris out of my way, rather than running the long way around. Recyclers are huge for this category because they're useful for a lot of things. They can remove objects that I don't have the strength stat to move. I didn't want to pick that up. Alright, they can remove obstacles that I can't lift. They're extremely powerful as weapons, and they're useful for the main major glitch for the category. And it's kind of bad that I'm taking so much damage early on in the run because I haven't even gotten to the scary parts yet. Here I'm going to go ahead and try to dislocate this door. Looks like it worked. I'm going to get right on through there. And I'm going to do that one more time. Open this door. Hopefully that works. Yes. I'll grab these 2 sets of spare parts here. Because at a point later in the game I'm going to need, I believe it's 6 sets of spare parts. And I like to grab the ones that are guaranteed spawns. I mean, realistically, when I'm doing runs of this category, when I get to the point that I actually need the spare parts, I'll have like 11 of them when I only need 6. But a lot of those come from random spawn locations where I can't rely on getting them. Here's the other big glitch that you can do with the glue gun, which is using a pair of glue blobs to climb your way out of bounds. So this section, or this part of the station is guts. It's like a big, cargo tunnel, really, in zero gravity. And if I go through it the normal way, there's a whole bunch of doors that are locked, and I don't have the key cards or the key codes to open them. So I would have to stop and dislocate all of them if I wanted to get through them quickly, or I can go out of bounds and just go around them completely. Now to get back inbounds. Just up here. On these curved surfaces, you can just kind of wiggle your way back in. And then I'm going to touch this moving rail to accelerate myself above my normal movement speed cap. So normally in zero gravity I can only move at 10 meters per second, but by bouncing on this rail I can bump that up to 13.
The power plant has been compromised. I repeat, the power plant has been compromised. It's about time, Sam.
Here I'm going to pick up a Typhon lure that I'm going to need later, another recycler, and another set of spare parts.
Would it be okay to read a quick donation?
Sure.
Okay. Tom Rish, who's actually one of the restreamers of Hekathon, donated $1 saying, Zuketra is master flopper, the absolute king of flopping. Nobody could ever dream flopping better than he could. Big flopper. This is, of course, referring to Sunday's Roblox showcase that Zuketra is going to be running. So that will be very interesting. Last year we had some nice maps shown there.
Your brother's office is up here as well. Jupiter and his palace at the top of the heavens. He used to say that behind his back. But that would make you... what? Juno? No. That's an unpleasant
there we go. So I did an out of bounds clip that would normally get me up here, so I just fell in a weird spot, but you can kind of work your way back in bounds around that. So the quest that asked me to take the main elevator was just to get up here to the arboretum so that I could go into deep storage, because that's where the information that I need is to craft the arming key that would self-destruct the station, which is what January wants me to do.
I can't get this damn thing open. Where's Danielle?
Still not answering.
So unfortunately, the door there is locked.
Danielle tied the lock to her voice. We need her to speak the key phrase or we're not getting in
And
here.
here's a nice super slide if I get it.
Transcribe recordings?
Yes, if they have the right words.
Yep, that was a good one.
If we gathered enough to map her voice to a consonant and vowel list and started running patterns.
I'll see if I can find her. Or her transcribe. I'll check her room first.
All right, Ivy, but look.
So I picked up this audio log. It's telling me that the door was locked based on a certain crew member's voice. So I need her voice in order to open the door. Now there are two ways that I can get her voice in order to open that door. I can either run all over the place in crew quarters to find... it's something like 12 different audio logs that have bits of her voice that we can then piece together to open the door, or I can just find her. Now in the story, we don't know where she is. We know that she's turned off her tracking bracelet, so we can't find her easily, and we don't even know if she's alive. Fortunately for the speedrun, I know exactly where she is, and how to find her. So rather than doing a whole bunch of running around, I'm just going to do a little bit of running around. Well, first things first, I'm going to get out of bounds right here.
Danielle's cabin might be a good place to get started.
And I'm just going to jump into the void, hopefully land up here, over this way, land on this vent, which I should fall back inside of to get back in bounds. On this body, I'm going to find another audio log,
I'm still in deep storage. I don't know why you won't.
and that Danielle Sho is the person I need to find.
Data vault and spacewalk along the hull. Come to the fitness center and bang on the window by the pool. I should feel the vibration.
I'll try another slide here.
Please don't take any chances. All right.
Okay, it didn't really work.
Be safe.
Here or not? Shoot first before they get close.
Okay, but based on that audio log, we now know exactly where to find Danielle. That's what I'm going to go and do. Also have to be very careful around these enemies because they explode when they die, and they deal a ton of damage. They also explode if I get close enough to them. Like that. Which is a lot easier than fighting them, but it also comes with a risk of death. Here, I'm going to throw a Typhon lure, because there's a whole lot of enemies in this room that I can't fight at this point. And so following the directions on the audio log that I found, knocking on this window 3 times will bring out Danielle, and she is going to talk to me
Morgan?
and tell me how to
If you're
open the
here,
door.
then Abby didn't make it, did she?
So unfortunately that Typhon lure doesn't last forever, so I need to get back out of that room and find some place to hide from the enemies so that they don't kill me. It's very, very faint, but you can still just barely hear her talking. I'm not sure if it's even loud enough to come through on the stream. But, you might wonder, why don't I just run all the way to the exit while she's talking and then just leave as soon as it's done? And that's because if I get too far away, her voice line just ends, and then the quest line can't be completed this way. But if I stay right here, I'm just close enough to have the voice line complete and not die. So once I see that pop up, I know that it's done, and I can get out of here. And try another slide off of this. And we're out. So now I've got what I need to open deep storage, which means I'm moving on now to the questline called Restore from Backup. And this is probably one of the scariest parts of the run because it's got a bunch of enemies that I have to deal with and a lot of damage that I realistically can't avoid and still play the game quickly. So hopefully I've got enough medkits to get through it. I should. I've also got a bunch of extra neuromods so I can increase my maximum health, which will also fully refill my health if I absolutely need to. Unavoidable hit from that because the electricity just flies everywhere. And here's the voice line that Danielle gave us to open the door.
Alex, Oedipus complex, pompous, nepotist.
I don't think she likes him very much. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do when I get into this area is I'm actually going to use some neuromods to upgrade my weapon damage. Now, there are 2 different ways to upgrade weapon damage in this game. One of them is by neuromods to increase your combat proficiency. And the other one is just by directly upgrading the weapons themselves. Now I've already upgraded the shotgun as much as I can. So I'm going to have to use neuromods for the rest. I'm going to throw a recycle grenade down there, because that's going to destroy a couple of turrets. So this enemy is a technopath. It can take control of electronic objects, like the turrets, and turn them against me, so by destroying them with the recycler grenade, I'm saving myself from a lot of damage. And there's also a barrel full of radioactive material in there that if it gets damaged at all during that fight, I would end up most likely getting radiation poisoning that I can't get rid of for quite a while in this category. And radiation poisoning in this game is awful. So it's nice that I can avoid it. These enemies in here also cause radiation damage. So I'm going to eliminate the first ones. And there's a little bit of randomness in this room because there's a hard drive that I need to find and put back into the main terminal. And it can spawn in 2 different places. There's one on the left side, which is this one. There's one on the right side. Unfortunately, the one on the left side is kind of the worst one to get because you're more likely to take damage. That. Okay. Here I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my health just for the free full heal. And come over here to the terminal. Come on, place the hard drive, activate it, and then we can get out of here.
Hello. Good work. I was worried the drive might have been damaged. You can use Chief Sho's workstation to download the fabrication plan. Then we can reconstruct your arming key.
This next room is also kind of scary. One of those recycle grenades is a mimic. And there's also a voltaic phantom over here. And a bunch of pools of oil on the ground that will catch on fire based on the attacks from the voltaic phantom. So it's very easy to take a lot of damage or die in this room.
Every dark bit of data that moves through the station is captured here. Redundant backup servers are stored in modules that eject in the event of a catastrophic failure.
Okay.
The fact that they
I
haven't
can put out the fires with the glue gun, which I'm going to do just so that I don't accidentally run into them. Here I've downloaded the crafting plan for the arming key, which I need in order to complete Keys to the Kingdom. It's coming up later. I also picked up a fabrication plan for recycle charges, which is good because I'm going to need a lot of them. And since I have to wait for dialogue right here next to a fabricator, I can make a lot of them.
But I promised I'd help you. So listen. Deep storage was built with a series of data vault modules that can be
So now I can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief because I'm past the scariest part of the run. Crew quarters and deep storage are a little spooky because it's very easy to die.
Once you're in, look for a manual release.
I'm also going to top off on shotgun shells just to make sure I don't run out. I usually get myself to about 100.
Remember, you owe me. Kill the son of a bitch who hurt Abby, or I swear to God I'll haunt you.
So once her dialogue ends, that opens up this utility, which we can use to activate a pod that'll let us get out of deep storage. So why do we need a pod to get out of deep storage when we just walked in the door to begin with? Well, that's because as soon as we came in here, our brother Alex locked down the entire space station, which closed all of the doors, so at the moment this pod is the only way to get back out of deep storage and actually get to the rest of the station. So now, we're going to space. Oh, surprisingly this run isn't going all that bad, apart from the beginning. It was a really rough beginning, but we've pretty much held pace ever since then. It's been pretty smooth.
Microgravity detected. What's happening?
Don't let them do this to you.
Oh, here I just need to open this door. And now we're out into space. So I need to fly down there to an opening in cargo bay. And while I'm just flying for a little while, I'm going to go through and make sure all my guns are loaded. There's going to be some dialogue coming up from a character called Dr. Igwe. And we have the option to either save him or leave him out there in a cargo container to die. Any second now, I think we can see it. There it is, that cargo container. Now, we can save him, and it wouldn't cost me any time right now, but unfortunately, if we save him, he'll have a line of dialogue come up later at a really awkward time that would cost us, or would cause us to lose time. So unfortunately, we are not going to save him. I'm going to take the other cargo container and just get back inside the station. So just that little bit of flying through space is actually its own main quest called This Side Up, which we have now completed by getting back inside the station. Now we're on to the quest called Shipping and Receiving. First thing I'm going to do is take a recycler and throw it at this mimic, or this phantom. Because that one deals a lot of damage, and it would also destroy this turret, which I'm going to need later. So to progress this part of the game, I need to set up 3 turrets. And luckily for me, there are exactly 3 turrets that I can find laying around in this area. It's a very good thing for the speedrun because I do not have the ability to unlocked to craft them or repair them if they break. So I need to be very careful not to let anything break any of the 3 turrets that I've got. So there's another phantom around here somewhere. There it is. And hopefully it's just going to ignore us doing this. I'm going to bring 1 turret in here, and I'm going to use a recycle grenade to get rid of that crate that's blocking a hole I can drop down through. And while that's going off, I'm going to come and grab the other turret.
When the fire broke out and everyone began running. But they weren't running from the fire, it was...
So by dropping through this little hole here, that gets me into this little storage area that can only be opened from the inside, where the 3rd turret is.
I'm glad he did. I didn't know what was going on or anything about those things.
So with my current abilities that I've got unlocked from neuromods, I can move and activate turrets, but I can't repair them. But if they're broken, I pretty much have to restart this area.
I heard all the escape pods.
Actually, it's gonna be quicker to go this way.
All of them. How is that possible?
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Okay, so once I've got those 3 turrets set up, that triggers all of these NPCs to start moving. And that gets Elazar to tell me the code to open this door.
Officer Maddox ready.
Well, once that door opens, I'm going to throw a recycler through, and that's going to either kill most of these enemies or pull them all close together so that the null wave grenade that I threw in there will do the rest of the damage. Still something left somewhere there. Alright, so once all of those enemies are dead, that completes shipping and receiving, and Dr. Igwe just died. But once shipping and receiving is completed, I can get out of here. So, like I mentioned earlier, the whole station of Talos 1 is in lockdown since I went into deep storage, and it still is in lockdown. So because I got out with a pod and then got back in from cargo bay, that just puts me in a different part of the station that's kind of in its own sealed little corner of things. So I still need to do something to open up the rest of the station so that I can move around fully again. Which in this case is rebooting the station's reactor. That'll open everything back up. Well, that's what I'm going to do now. First I have to come into water treatment, which is not the reactor, but it's got another technopath in here. And this technopath being here is keeping several doors locked that will prevent me from actually getting to the reactor. Alright, so once that's dead, I can hit that button and get out of there. Now I'm in power plant. It's a fairly long path I would have to take to get to the bottom. I'd have to dislocate a couple of doors and find a key card and run through a room that's on fire. But because I'm allowed to go out of bounds in this category, I don't have to do any of that. Instead, I'm going to go here in this awkward little corner and get myself stuck.
I know you did not come down here much, but I can track you through your bracelet and guide you from here.
Gravity detected. Normal gravity detected.
And from out of bounds, luckily there's this microgravity that I can fly through.
Normal gravity detected.
Lets me get over here. And from right here, I need to do the spooky blind fall. and do a ledge grab down here so that I don't die to fall damage. And then clip back inbounds, throw a wall there, and grab a key off of this body, and hopefully get past this phantom. Another big drop, and a ledge grab to save myself from taking damage. Get a key to the reactor off of that body, and this piece that I need in order to repair the reactor. Grab this other null wave transmitter, I'm going to throw it in there, which should deal with all of those, or at least most of them. Now I need to dislocate that door. That is a very obnoxious door, which likes to stick in place no matter what you do. But we got it on the first try, so that's good. That screen kind of looks awful. Normally we're supposed to turn the reactor off before we walk inside it, but you know, that's slow, so we're just going right in. And then I hit the button to restart the reactor, and the whole station is open back up now. Now, one of the things I did in that control room was I used a jar of anti-rads that was just laying there on the desk to cure the radiation poisoning that I got from going in the reactor. And then I also picked up a second one, which is going to be useful later on, just in case I end up getting radiation poisoning again, which is actually pretty likely to happen. I'm going to come over here and open this airlock. And I'm going to dislocate that door. I want to get in here to grab these two Typhon lures and some neuromods, and I have a little bit of time while I'm waiting for this airlock to open up. So that completes the quest called Reboot, which is, of course, all about restarting the reactor. Now you might think the button that I pressed there to open that airlock looked familiar, and it should, because I also opened up an airlock all the way back in the arboretum when I was up there. And this part right now is the reason why. So, because I've got both of these airlocks already opened up, I can just fly from one directly to the other by going around the outside of the station instead of having to travel all the way through the middle of the station, which would take significantly longer.
One step at a time. I'm here if you need help.
I'm just going to try to sneak through here without taking damage. As a point, I do take collision damage if I hit anything out here while moving at full speed. Again, flying through space, not a whole lot to do, so I'm just going to make sure all my guns are loaded and ready to go once I get to the next area. Okay, so now we're on to the quest called Before I Give You the Key. So when we get up into the Arboretum, our brother Alex is going to talk to us a whole bunch about how, you know, the video that we saw, well, in the speedrun we don't see it, but at the beginning of the game, the video that we saw tells us about how our backup plan in case everything went wrong like this was to self-destruct the entire station. But Alex doesn't want to do that because it would lose all of the research. So he's going to talk about how he has his own video that he's made of himself and the player character talking about how they're actually working on an advanced null wave device that can wipe out all of the Typhon and save the station.
Morgan, I won't be joining you. Don't worry, there's no trick.
Trying to dislocate this door here. It doesn't look like there is one, but there is, and that's Alex's secret safe room. He's got a whole bunch of food in, which I'm going to eat because my health is low, and eating that will restore it.
I'm sending you the password, assuming you haven't hacked your way in yet.
I'm gonna make a quick save right here, because I also have to dislocate this door. And sometimes this door doesn't like to play nice. Like right now. So as soon as I activate that panel there, it goes into another kind of in-engine cutscene, and I'm not able to quick save during those cutscenes. So, needed to make the save right here. Because if I didn't and went into the cutscene, then it would probably send me back to when I entered the airlock, or came in through the airlock into this area. And that would be a huge waste of time if I kept missing the door like that. I'm gonna jump down here and just do a ledge grab on that to save myself from fall damage. I'm in another situation where there's a video playing up in that office, and I can't progress the game until it's done, so what I am doing instead is running around the arboretum and collecting things that I might need, opening up doors and activating lifts that I will use later on in the run. Yes, there are some people who have run Moon Crash. It's not as popular as the base game, and I haven't seen anybody running it in quite a while now, but it's a very interesting and very different speedrun from the main game. Here I'm going to dump all my extra junk from my... Sorry. All the extra junk from my inventory into the recycler there, just so that it's not taking up inventory space anymore. Just about done. It's the last body I'm going to check. And a little bit more pistol ammo and one more recycle grenade. And then I can go back up into the office here. Hey, there's the door again.
But they'll know they exist because of the things we did.
And here, there's usually some ammo in there. And check those for anything useful. Weapon upgrade kit that I'm not going to use.
Good morning.
This might sound strange coming from me, but I admire what you did. You didn't have to help Chief Elazar and her people in the cargo bay, especially considering, well, considering you intend to destroy the station. You gave them some hope, even if it's brief.
But now I need to wait for this dialogue to play out, so if you've got any donations you'd like to read off, this is a great time for them.
Stay away from it.
Well, there you have it. Everything I've done is what you've asked me to do. I didn't think you'd believe me unless you heard it from your own mouth. The tests, they changed you. Not a lot at first, but eventually, the constant stripping of your memory. I didn't know who you were anymore. All I want is to have my sister back so we can finish what we started. The device you mentioned, it's an advanced version of the null wave. It's the only way to stop the Typhon without destroying everything we've been working toward. We're just missing some scan data from the Coral to complete the design. Help me finish this, Morgan. And then, you can have my arming key. I don't believe you want to use it anymore, but you can have it. I left the chipset for you on my desk. You'll need to upgrade your psychoscope to scan the Coral. I'll send you the scan locations.
I ruined it. Anyway, he's going to give me this object in here. That's not the right one. Forgot I accidentally picked up the extra chipset earlier on in the run. Alright, so he gave me a chipset that lets my psychoscope scan the coral. And he wants me to go and do that so we can complete the advanced null wave device and then activate that to wipe out the Typhon and save Talos 1.
Microgravity detected.
And this door is a little bit weird because it sometimes doesn't like to open until I fly into it twice.
That version of you is the true Morgan. But why? Just because it came first? If someone had made you, then I suppose your truest self would be the one that fulfills whatever purpose your maker intended. I know who made me.
So this questline right now, before I give you the key, is the longest questline in the run. And a lot of that is just because of all the flying back and forth that I have to do out here.
Strangely, of all the things I know about you, I don't know what you believe. You have to decide, Morgan. Who are you?
Well, I'm just going to go in here, and this room is the entire reason that I picked up Typhon lures, because those two enemies would cause me some big problems if I left them alive, or if they were allowed to just attack me. So throwing the Typhon lure distracts them way over to the other side of the room, and just kind of keeps them out of the way while I'm scanning these two nodes of the coral.
You're not what they say you are.
Rejecting the new cell lines, fighting them up like an antivirus.
Destroy Talos 1.
And I'm sure none of that meant anything.
Running out of time.
Notice the floating robots out here are kind of funny, because normally in other parts of the station they're the ones that attack you with fire. But out here in space, they can't use fire because there's no air. So they just kind of float in your face and don't really do anything.
Communicating. Just one more to go. I knew you could handle this. Our father warned me not to stake so much of the company's future on your ideas.
Yeah, there's some of that collision damage I was talking about before.
We're a good team, Morgan. Excellent work. All that's left is integrating the data after you upload it.
So that's a weird thing this game does sometimes. When you go to interact with the door, you can either accept to actually go through the door or cancel to stay in the area that you're in. And sometimes if your mouse cursor is floating over the cancel button and you press the enter key, you don't actually go through the door. It's not really a big deal, but it is an annoying way to lose a couple of seconds in a run. Okay, so now that we've gone and scanned the coral, I have to go back up to Alex's office and upload the data from that scan.
And be careful. The Typhon will begin to sense our intent to harm the coral. They're gonna come after you. I left something for you on my desk that should help.
Well, once I do the upload, I'm just going to get out of here as quick as I can, since that door is still dislocated from before. And that completes the Before I Give You the Key quest. So some of the dialogue that I haven't really listened to right now is talking about how the board of directors for Talos 1 has noticed that things aren't going the way they're supposed to. And I have no idea where they could have gotten that idea from. Everything up here seems normal to me. But they've sent Walter Dahl up here to deal with it by killing us.
Must now bay for evacuation. Those of you unable to comply, transmit an SOS and my team of rescue operators will locate you.
So just like the last time I was in Guts and I used the rail to go up through the station, I can use the underside of the rail to accelerate myself back down the station. More bounce.
He already has his hooks into every major system aboard Talos 1.
So a couple of options that you've got at this point in the game. You can either go and find Dahl himself, or you can go to the shuttle bay and check the shuttle to try and find his tech officer. That's what I'm doing right now. So one weird side effect of how quickly I left the arboretum after I uploaded the data from the coral is that there's supposed to have been a cutscene that plays that locks me in that room all over again. And by leaving the Arboretum before that cutscene finishes, that sometimes causes the shuttle not to spawn in here. Just like that. Which is a little bit annoying. It means I have to leave and re-enter the area to reload it, and hopefully the second time around the shuttle will actually be there. That's an interesting sound effect to get stuck during the loading screen. It doesn't really cost you a whole lot of time if you're going by the load remover to exit and re-enter the shuttle bay, but it is somewhat annoying that you have to sit through 2 extra loading screens. This time the shuttle should be here, and it is. I'm just going to climb up here. And I'm going to do this funny little jump to get myself on top of the shuttle without having to actually extend the bridge to the door. And from up here, I can just barely reach the button that opens the door and get inside. And then I'm going to hit that button to transfer file. And then I'm going to eat all of Walter Dahl's food, because he's a jerk.
I think I broke my arm when that blackout happened. Now I'm trapped. Aliens outside the door. I could really use some help, man.
I have to wait for this line of dialogue to end, and then we get this pre-recorded message, which is the one we just downloaded. I'm going to go into the menu and restart that message, which will update my quest log immediately. So normally your quest log wouldn't update until this audio log finishes playing, but by restarting it, for whatever reason, that just updates your quests immediately. And that allows me to check the status of the quest, the Repo Man, and that'll tell me exactly where Walter Dahl's tech officer has spawned. And that is, unfortunately, in Neuromod Division, which is one of, I think it's the second worst spawn you can get. There are 4 different places that it can spawn. Its name is Casper, by the way, and Casper can spawn in Psychotronics, Neuromod Division, Hardware Labs, or Talos 1 Exterior. And I did actually just list those off in the order of worst to best.
I'm told my ops are hidden as an HR expense in the TranStar books. It's true. I do solve people problems.
So I mean, ideally we would have wanted to see Hardware Labs or Talos 1 Exterior, because both of those are pretty quick. This one's kind of slow. And it's also a bit risky because we're probably going to take a lot of damage along the way. But there is one bonus to this, is that we get to see another kind of funny glitch of this game. So because Neuromod Division is the first area of the game, and it's where we were supposed to pick up our suit at the beginning of the game, which we never did, by coming back into this area, we have no character model.
Morgan, Dal's cut off oxygen to the cargo bay. There's nothing I can do from here, and none of the doors are responding. Atmosphere controls are in life support.
And we do actually have to go up and around this again, otherwise that airlock will seal, and we'll actually be soft locked in there. So, there's the tech officer Casper. I'm going to shoot him with the stun gun, just so that he falls on the ground and nicely lets us kill him. Now, through this window? There we go.
Doors are working again, Morgan. Nice work. I'm taking what's left of my crew to the atmosphere controls and life support. We're going to clear out Dal's shit-can operators and make sure there are no more missing.
And now I just need to get back out of here.
Dal populated his entire crew with customized operators. He made a mistake.
A few more super slides because I can.
Flesh and blood is messy, Morgan.
Alright, we're getting pretty close to the end of the run here. Right now we've got to get back up to the arboretum. And the fastest way to do that from this spawn is by taking the main elevator. Now that is the same main elevator that was not functional earlier in the run. And at this point in the game, we have not actually gone and done the thing that we need to do to fix the main elevator. But that's actually not a problem, because for whatever reason, right after you've killed Casper, the main elevator actually just works. I have no idea why. Unfortunately, it's scripted that when we get here after killing Casper, the main elevator automatically goes straight up to the top, and it does that very slowly. And there's a whole lot of enemies in this room. So I'm going to stand over here a little while, hope none of those enemies notice me. I'm going to come back over here, hopefully call the elevator back before anything too bad happens. And get in there, actually, surprisingly, without taking any damage. So since we've killed Casper, Walter Dahl has moved from where he was originally. He starts out down in life support, and we can go and deal with him there directly. Or by killing Casper, it causes him to go up to the arboretum and try to kill Alex. Which is really convenient for the run, because the arboretum and Alex are where we're going right now. Once we hit the top of the elevator, so come through here, and attempt a super slide to the door. I didn't quite get all the way there, ran into a bench along the way. So right now I'm supposed to go and save Alex from Dahl, and then Alex will give me the fabrication plan for the null wave device, or the arming key to self-destruct the station. Or really, he'd give me a choice, but well, he's not really going to get much of a chance to give us a choice.
Morgan, Dolly's breathing down my neck. I don't know how much longer. Shit.
I just need to climb back up here again.
This isn't the first time a Typhon organism has broken containment.
So I'm going to want the stun gun.
Shortly after your initial neuromod tests.
So for whatever reason he doesn't notice that I've dislocated the door, I'm just going to put Alex to sleep and loot everything off his body, and then we're going to leave.
That's when you begin implementing secret contingencies. Hiding the plan for your arming key, videos, the January protocol. Your concerns.
So one interesting thing about all main quests as a category, it's the only one where we realistically have the option to go for either the null wave or the arming key endings. Because in order to get to this point, we have to do everything that's required to actually get the arming keys. So normally we would go for the null wave ending because it's the fastest. But since the arming key ending has actually never been shown in a marathon, I'm just going to do that one.
You programmed me to refute him point by point. However, we can skip that. A Typhon the size of a skyscraper is currently eating Talos for lunch.
Hekathon exclusive.
Alex is
all main quests arming key ending.
Destroy the station, just as you planned. The blast will take the monster down with it.
This is a little bit scary here, but one thing that happens when we pick up the crafting plan for the null wave is that the Apex Typhon spawns in the station, and that's what we're seeing in Guts here. Like, all of this stuff is the Apex Typhon, and it's pretty much engulfing the entire station. You might wonder why I'm not going out through the airlocks and flying around the station, because that would be faster than what I'm doing right now. And the reason is all of the airlocks are sealed right now because of the Apex Typhon, and if we went outside the station we would just immediately die. Hey, that's a lot of damage. Alright, so normally what I would do for the null wave ending is I would go down to Psychotronics, craft the null wave device, plant it on the device in Psychotronics, then fly back up to Arboretum and press a button. And that would be all we have to do. But for the arming key ending, I have to go all the way back down to the reactor. You know, when I tried to do this ending casually, it was actually somewhat difficult to find where you have to go, because it's hidden in an odd way. So we gotta go back over here again. Let's do a ledge grab there to cancel fall damage. And just run past all the enemies. And now we're back in the power plant. Well, luckily this glue that I put here the first time is still here. Unfortunately, that junk on the floor is still there too, and that kind of gets in the way a little bit.
And that means the main lift too. I hope.
Microgravity detected.
We just have to do this out of bounds again. Almost messed it up. This time we're just going to drop right down here. There's a lucky ledge grab at the bottom there. Anyway, you have to move this panel and press a button. That opens the stairway. Sorry about that.
No, nothing that interferes with memory formation.
Alright, so there we've used both arming keys, and I'm about to die, so I'm just going to use some of my extra neuromods to give myself more maximum health and a free full heal.
Hurry, Morgan. There won't be anything left to detonate if we're too late.
Now I just need to get back out of here. So you might remember from the first time I got out of here, I used the airlock, but like I mentioned, I can't do that again. So this time I have to do something else. And unfortunately, this door is still locked, and the key for it is on the other side. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and dislocate this big round door. And sometimes they are a little uncooperative. It looks like the door went up, so I'll just slide under its hitbox. Okay, game, I guess I wasn't holding space, so I didn't climb anything.
And avoid all open flames or sparks until a warning can be made. Dangerous level of explosive gas detected.
Attempt to slide here, and didn't work. That's a pretty difficult slide to pull off. Alright, so we're almost at the end. I just have to get back up to the Arboretum and activate the self-destruct. Alright, so at the moment, since all I'm really doing right now is doing a run back through a few areas I've already been through. If we've got any more donations, we could probably read them off now.
We haven't gotten any donations
Okay.
recently, but yep.
Alright, so one clip that I didn't do earlier in the game, that this one might be more familiar to those who know the any percent run. Just flying into this corner here, just going to pop me up out of bounds. I'm just going to fly up and hit this door from the outside. Alright, so now I've just got to make my way back up through guts. Unfortunately, because the Apex Typhon is here, I can't just ride the rail the whole way. I can still get a few speed boosts off it, but I have to be careful not to fly into the Apex Typhon, because if I do that, it is instant death. And this is the reason why I have the second Typhon lure, so I can get all of these things to leave me alone while I get out of there. So these kind of tentacle arms sticking out, if I touch those I just take a little bit of damage, but if I touch any of the main body of it, it's just instant death. Alright, so now I'm back to the arboretum. One thing that we didn't see happen in the arboretum because I left it so quickly after I stunned Alex is that the whole arboretum has gone into zero gravity since the Apex Typhon spawned. Which makes navigating it at the end of the game like this a little bit more difficult.
Microgravity detected.
Luckily the grav shafts still work like normal. And oddly enough, even though the arboretum has no gravity, the bridge does. I'm not sure why, but it does. There's one kind of tricky jump I'm going to try to do here to get to the self-destruct panel a little bit quicker. It's faster if I get it first try than running around, but it's kind of annoyingly difficult to get first try. I'm just going to put some glue right there, and one right at the bottom of that. If I do it just right, I can climb like that.
Morgan, everything is ready.
Hit the button to activate the self-destruct, and sit in the chair. And then time is coming up as soon as the cutscene starts. It should be just a few seconds.
I believe the risk you pose to Earth is minimal. However, despite my belief, I cannot...
Oh, time.
GG.
I keep having this dream.
That was Prey, all main quests, with the lifel1ke ending. Thank you everybody for watching, and I think it's Rexy up next with Dust Force, so stick around for that.